Notes. 1. Krafft-Ebing himself points out the existence of passive flagellation independently from masochism. Cf. Psychopathia Sexualis, revised by Moll, 1963. 2. Georges Boudely, Eroticism, English T.R.M. Delwood, Calder Books, 1965, pages 187, 188, 189. 3. Krafft-Ebing, Psychopathia Sexualis, pages 208-9. 4. Cf. Appendix IIL. 5. To cut off a pigtail would not seem in this instance to imply any hostility toward the fetish, it is merely the necessary condition of its constitution. We cannot allude to hair despoilers without drawing attention to a psychiatric problem of historical importance. Krafft-Ebing Psychopathia Sexualis, revised by Moll, is a compendium of cases of the most abominable perversions for the use of doctors and jurists, as the subtitle indicates. Assault, crime, bestiality, disemboweling, necrophilia, etc., are all treated with the appropriate scientific detachment, without passion or value judgment. With case 396, however, the tone changes abruptly. A dangerous pigtail fetishist was spreading anxiety in Berlin. And this comment follows: these people are so dangerous that they ought definitely to be subject to long-term confinement in an asylum until their eventual recovery. They do not by any means deserve unqualified leniency. When I think of the immense sorrow caused to a family in which a young girl is thus deprived of her beautiful hair, I find it quite impossible to understand that such people are not confined indefinitely in an asylum. Let us hope that the new penal law will remedy the situation. Such an indignant explosion against a relatively harmless perversion seems to indicate that powerful personal motivations lay behind the author's departure from his usual scientific objectivity. When he reached case 396, the psychiatrist allowed his feelings to get the better of him. Let this be a lesson to us all. 6. Letter to his brother Charles on January 5, 1869, quoted by Wanda. 7. Maurice Blancot, La Tremont et Sada, Minuit, Collection Arguments, 1963, p. 30. 8. 3 Essays on the Theory of Sexuality, The Complete Psychological Works, Hogarth, 1955-64, Volume 7, p. 159. 9. The Instincts and Their Vicissitudes, in Papers on Metapsychology, Collected Papers, 1946, Volume 4, p. 71. 10. Cf. Appendix I. 11. Cf. Bachofen, Das Mutterrecht, 1861. An example of a work owing much to Bachofen's ideas is the excellent book L'initiation sexuelle et l'évolution religieuse, by Pierre Gordon, P.U.F., 1946. 12. Cf. Appendix I. 13. E. Burglar, The Basic Neurosis, New York, Grun, 1949. 14. Theodore Rigg, Masochism in Sex and Society, English T.R.M.H. Bible and G.M. Kurth, Grove Press, 1962, pages 21, 209. 15. Pierre Klossowski, Elements d'une étude psychanalytique sur le marquis de Sade, Revue de Psychanalyse, 1933. 16. An illustration of the difference in nature between the two prostitution fantasies, the sadistic and the masochistic, may be found in Klossowski's tale Le Circular, cf. The contrast between El Hotel de Longchamp and Les Lois de El Hospitalet. 17. The author's use of the symbolic order, or the order of the real should be understood in the context of the fundamental distinction established by Jacques Lacan between three orders or dimensions, the symbolic, the imaginary, and the real. Translator's note. 18. Cf. Jacques Lacan, La Psychanalyse, I, pages 48 ff. As defined by Lacan, the mechanism of repudiation or foreclosure, verwerfung, operates in the symbolic dimension and in connection with the father, more specifically the name of the father. Lacan appears to look upon this as a primary and irreducible operation which is independent of all maternal influence. The distortion of the mother's role would on the contrary arise as a result of the symbolic repudiation of the father. Cf. however the article by a follower of Lacan, Pierre Alanier, Remarques sur la structure psychotique, La Psychanalyse, 8, which would seem to restore to some extent to the mother an active role as symbolic agent. 19. Rigg, Masochism, p. 18. 20. Cf. Appendix 3. 21. Maurice Blancot, La Tremont et Sada, p. 35. 22. Rigg, Masochism, pages 44-91. 23. Cf. Appendix 2. 24. Pagism, form of masochism where the subject imagines he is a page boy attending a woman. 25. This is the essential thesis of Institutions Republicains. 26. On the elusive character of the object of the law, cf. J. Lacan's commentaries relating both to Kant and to Sada, Kant avec Sada, Critique, 1963. 27. Civilization and its Discontents, Complete Psychological Works, Volume XXI, pages 125, 128. 28. Theodore Rigg, Masochism. The masochist exhibits the punishment but also its failure. He shows his submission certainly, but he also shows his invincible rebellion, demonstrating that he gains pleasure despite the discomfort. He cannot be broken from outside. He has an inexhaustible capacity for taking a beating and yet knows unconsciously he is not licked. Pages 145, 163. 29. Review Bluey, 1888. 30. On the link between agrarian and incestuous themes and the role of the plow, cf. Salvador Dali's brilliant text in Myth Tragique de l'Angelus de Millet, Pobbard. 31. Masochist Tale is a relatively accurate account of the life of Sabbatai Swat. Another account may be found in Gratz, History of the Jews, where the hero's historical importance is emphasized. 32. Letter to his brother Charles on January 8, 1869. 33. B. Grunberger, in Esquisse d'une théorie psychodynamique du masochisme, Revue Française de Psychanalyse, 1954, disagrees with edible interpretations of masochism, but he replaces the murder of the edible father by a pregenital wish to castrate the father, regarded as the true source of masochism. In any case, he does not accept the maternal oral etiology. 34. The Instincts and Their Vicissitudes in Papers on Metapsychology. 35. The second explanation, which was offered by Grunberger, traces masochism back to a pre-edible source. 36. These three aspects are formally distinguished in an article written in 1924, The Economic Problem of Masochism, but they are already indicated in the first interpretation. 37. Rigg, p. 186. 38. Musil, The Men Without Qualities. Translator's note, this passage does not seem to be included in the English translation of this work. 39. Klossowski, Un essai funeste désir, NRF, p. 127, and La Révolution de l'Edit de Nantes, Minuit, p. 15. 40. Jokes and Their Relation to the Unconscious, Complete Psychological Works, Volume 8. 41 cf. Daniel Lidice, La Psychanalyse et structure de personalite, La Psychanalyse, 6, pages 36 to 47.